Day one of the NBA playoffs in the books, and there was one team who got a road win, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They
Hey.
clap some Lakers ass in game one, 117-95. I mean, a little bit surprising to see how this game went, especially after the first quarter. It's 28-21 Lakers. They're doing a great job, 11-2 on second chance points. But then Minnesota turned it on. The defense was engaged. And I thought the others, Nas Reed, McDaniels, were massive tonight. What stood out to you?
They turned it on and they never looked back. Like their adjustments that they made were so simple. It was just plain simple basketball. It was, oh yeah, we got to move on the offensive end. And so then you started seeing not only ball movement, you started seeing bodies move as well. And even if it was something as simple as Julius Randle penetrating into the paint, he would just kick out to the person that was in the corner for an open three. And it never felt like the Lakers defense was making too many adjustments, like even a sense of urgency. They picked it up a little bit more when they felt like they got things going again when Ant went out later on. I know we'll talk about that, but I truly felt like throughout the second quarter and most of the third, it just never felt like they were trying to turn it on and be like, oh yeah, let's make sure we're closing out right and doing all of the things right.
I think one area is just this is a tough matchup for the Lakers. And I don't want to do this like game one overreaction thing because let's see what game two looks like.
Sure.
Adjustments, blah, blah, blah. I think the Lakers are more than capable of playing better than they did tonight. But the Wolves' size is just an issue because when the Wolves go small, they still have Nas Reed out there. They still have Randall out there,
Yeah.
right? And in some ways, I think they're kind of better in those lineups when Gobert's off the floor, but they could also put Gobert out there. When the Lakers go small, it's really small. Hell, Jackson Hayes got the start today. He played just 8 minutes. They signed Alex Leonard as a free agent. He didn't play until the garbage time at the end of this game. So they go small the entire time. And you're right. I thought Minnesota did a great job of just playing simple basketball. And you talk about Randall. Yeah, you have to deal with the roller coaster ride with him. He did have 7 turnovers. A couple of those early in the first quarter that were just brutal.
Well, the turnovers and then also just like swing moments when it felt like Ant went out and the Lakers were starting to get things going, he gets frustrated and then it's like, oh, foul on him or turnover. And it's just like, bro, you're on a team.
Sure, I would say this though, overall, good game for him.
Absolutely.
And he was more in control than he was. You almost have to live with that type of stuff.
100%.
Randall ends up with 16 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. You mentioned the 5 assists, just getting off the ball. That's where I go to Anthony Edwards tonight. Anthony Edwards didn't put up like monster numbers by any means. Not like, oh man, a 40-point night. He had 22 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 8 of 22 shooting, 9 from 3. But what they ended up doing that they didn't do enough last year when they faced Luka is hunt Luka.
Luke, they were not doing that enough in the first quarter.
Late second quarter, they started to do it. And what do you know? Good things happen. Anthony Edwards, like, I'm going to hunt him. And usually what happens is it's Ant getting by him.
Yeah.
The help has to come over. And Anthony Edwards was making the quick decisions tonight. He was getting off the ball fast. And I think one adjustment the Lakers maybe could think about is like, all right, we got to blitz this guy a little bit, make him uncomfortable. But when Anthony Edwards is like so quick with his decisions, like, he had one where, I mean, again, drive, the help comes over. He makes a simple pass. The ball's moving around. He had another one that was a give and go. And then he's just hitting shots over Luka.
Yeah.
He's not scared of that matchup. And I think as good as Luka is offensively, it's a matchup that every team should be exploiting.
100%. And I think the Lakers do a lot of that pre-switching, right? Where they just like kind of go through the flow, go through the motion. And understandable. It's worked for them at times and just understanding their personnel and who they have out there on the floor. But then when it wasn't working and they were hunting out Luka, it felt like, okay, their only adjustment was going into a little bit more of a matchup zone. Yeah. And then even in that matchup zone, it was the same thing that we were talking about. The T-Wolves would penetrate in the paint. Didn't matter who it was. Penetrate into the paint, find the kick out for a spray 3. And it was just like they were still in different actions. No one was just staying still after that first quarter. They were moving, relocating so the person with the ball could see them. As they simplified things, it just felt like the Lakers were not adjusting to that. Like you're kind of saying, hunting out Luka and just letting it happen.
I just didn't feel like the Lakers had a playoff approach today. You know, like, guess what? It's going to be more physical. Stop crying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you complaining about to the officials. Even LeBron late in the game, he shoots a 3. It's a high 5. Like, the ball was already released. Why are you losing your mind on that call? And look, there's probably some missed calls tonight. There's some physical plays, but this is playoff basketball. And when you've got too much of the focus being on you guys talking to the officials instead of being focused on that Minnesota team who's getting back in transition and pushing, which they did a great job tonight, 25-6 on fast break points. They were fantastic pushing the ball. But yeah, I just didn't like the Lakers' approach. Like the Wolves, to me, they brought a playoff level intensity tonight, especially after that slow start in the first quarter. And they played their asses off.
Well, and before we get to McDaniels, because obviously we have to talk about the real MVP, but you're exactly right with their approach. I mean, you look at how many times were you talking about this game where like they're going after every 50-50 ball and they're finding a way to fight. In that first quarter, I forget what the exact number was for the offensive rebounds for the Lakers compared to what the T-Wolves were. It was close to nothing, but then you saw a shift right away, and this game ended with 11 offensive rebounds for 23 points for the T-Wolves to the Lakers' 13 offensive rebounds to their 20 points.
Yeah, and the other thing was just second chance points. First quarter was 11-2 in favor of the Lakers. The rest of the way, 21-9 in favor of Minnesota. So that's a huge switch on the second chance points there, and that goes to Minnesota's like size too, right?
Yeah,
like they started locking down and making sure to get rebounds. They just play. I think this was Minnesota's A game. And I think you mentioned McDaniels. Like that's to me one of the X factors. I think there are times when you watch Minnesota, especially in this post-Cat era, is like, all right, who else is going to step up? Like you don't want it to be like Anthony Edwards and then Randall taking turns. Like other guys have to make sure that they step up tonight. It was Naz Reid who was tremendous, but when McDaniels gives you 25 points on 11 of 13, and he knocks down his threes, and he's playing awesome defense, and he's rebounding, that might be one of the best games Jaden McDaniels has played this year.
Look, he was knocking down his threes early in this game, but then kept remaining efficient. But then on the defensive end, kept remaining a dog and getting his long arms up there and doing exactly what this team needed him to do. Ant was being interviewed after the game. He was asked about McDaniels, and he was like, we've just told him all week, you have to remain aggressive throughout the entire game. You have to be our MVP. And tonight he was our MVP on both ends of the floor.
And the problem with him sometimes it's just like he picks up 3 quick fouls in the first quarter and has to sit. And then he kind of gets in his own head sometimes. And that's going to be something to watch is can he stay on the floor and stay disciplined? And I think that's kind of the big thing tonight. We talk about is like stay disciplined if you're Minnesota. Randall, stay engaged. There's a few moments where, all right, he might be getting baited here. Vanderbilt's trying to like hook his arm. He's getting frustrated, gets a technical. Just stay engaged. They were engaged tonight. And then Naz Reid, this guy, and this is what makes Minnesota's small ball lineup so devastating, right? Is because you've got Naz Reid's ability to space the floor and talk about a guy that does not give a shit. If he gets the ball, he shoots it like there's 1 second left on the shot clock.
Every time.
And there's like 9 here. Okay. He knocked down 3, 6 of 9 from downtown in this game. Randall 4 of 6, McDaniels 3 of 3. I do think if you're LA, you're going, is this team really going to knock down 21 of 42? Like probably not, even though they're a really good 3-point shooting team. But tonight, those 3 were really good from 3. But Naz Reid, awesome.
He was awesome. And his quick decision from 3, right? I mean, that's just what he does. It's just a quick release, quick decision. But when it's going in like this, it can be devastating. And I think you look at the way that this team was shooting from beyond the arc, even early on, we're like, okay, like, can they keep this up throughout the entire game? And they did. They kept it throughout the entire game. Let's just say that the Lakers end up making adjustments in game 2 with the perimeter. The T-Wolves can still dominate on the inside as well. You think about someone like Ant who can get by people. You throw a blitz at him, he can make a quick decision and find the open man. They don't always have to just rely on that outside shot, especially if the Lakers are playing a different type of defense along the perimeter. So I'm curious to see what adjustment's going to be made there. Obviously, someone like Rudy Gobert, we were talking about him multiple times with the Lakers going, they just need to hunt him. They need to hunt him. How many times was, for example, he was on Rui Hachimura, and Rui's just like not even facing up to be aggressive and to be a threat and is just passing the ball along. And I'm like, I know I'm not acting like he's the best creator in the entire world. He's capable. And when you've Rudy Gobert that far out, you got to make sure to make some of those decisions. Gobert he ended up playing 24 minutes in this game.
And by the way, that's a shout Chris Finch. You know what's working? Like you can play your Gobert in doses and start him, whatever. Same with Conley. And Conley ended up making some nice defensive plays tonight too, and hit a couple of threes, which was good. But there's going to be some challenges for him defensively in this series because of his size, his age. Those guys, 24, 23 apiece. They leaned on DiVincenzo a little bit more. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, then Naz Reid playing 31 minutes.
Yeah, and I just, again, T-Wolves, everyone did their job, and it was the other guys that were obviously really stepping up. And when Ant went down, it ended up being cramps. But when he went back to the locker room, it was like, okay, what's the swing going to be? And there was a swing. I mean, the Lakers.
It was a good run to get back in the game a little bit.
It was. And
but you know what happened right when Ant got back in the game?
What happened?
He went hunting Luka. And it led to good results, back-to-back possessions. And that's going to be the challenge. Like, I look at Luka's game tonight. He had 37. He's a tough cover. He was 12 of 22 shooting, 5 of 10 from downtown, 8 of 9 from the free throw line. I feel like he's going to give you offensively what you need. The challenge, though, is how is he going to ratchet up the defensive pressure? And last year during the playoffs with Dallas, there were times where I was like, dude, like, he's locked in defensively. The problem is, like, Anthony Edwards is such a, come on. Like, that's just a mismatch.
It's difficult.
And the Lakers are bringing help when the Wolves can space you out when they're playing.
And they're making their shots.
5 out. And they're knocking down shots. And then they're making the extra pass. Like, it's a really tough decision, but Luka has to be better in that regard. And honestly, if I'm Minnesota, if I'm LA, you're going to have to throw some doubles and you're going to have to try to trap Ant to make him throw some difficult passes.
Well, I saw
soft help. Ant's going to read that easily. He's just going to,
he's going to read that. But also, there was one specific play. I remember Luka on Ant, and Ant going down. He got the first step on him, was going down the right side. I believe it was Rui that was in help and came over to help, but then had to leave his guy in the corner. And so Ant made the right pass to the corner 3. Luka's looking at Rui like, what are you doing? And it was like, bro, you needed that help. It was going to be a line drive for Ant if he wasn't there, and that is where it is such a liability at times, and it really does break you down. So yeah.
Well, and to my point, I was just talking about Luka and hey, he's got to step up defensively. You got to think last year with Dallas, he's able to take more chances because he knew what was behind him.
Yep, second line of defense.
He had Lively back there. He
rim
had Gafford,
protection.
and the Lakers have who? Jackson Hayes, like I said earlier, played 8 minutes tonight.
Yep.
They're small, and this was going to be the thing in this, post trade that I was looking at. Is I think the Lakers, obviously, when you've got Luka and LeBron and their ability, they're going to have some moments. And Austin Reeves, if he's locked in, sure. But the problem is a size thing and defensively. And I think that was on display in a game like this where Minnesota has all those guys with size and length. And you look at it, the game rebounding tonight, I think 6 players had 5 or more rebounds in this one. It wasn't just one person.
Look, LeBron would rather play defense when he's chasing down, blocking guys.
That was an amazing play. Insane play, the chase down block. On Nickeil Alexander-Walker thought he had an easy layup, and LeBron just pinned it. Yeah, LeBron's night was interesting tonight. It was just weird. 8 of 18. It felt like when the game kind of got out of hand, I think Minnesota got up by as many as 27 in this game. It felt like he maybe let off the gas. All right, let's start thinking about game 2. And then it got close, and it was oh, here we go.
Wait, I got to get up on Ant. I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
Oh my God, when he totally completely grabbed Ant down the court and they called the foul on Anthony
so
Edwards.
weird.
I know. No, and look, he's got to be locked in the whole game. And I'm not acting like that's easy, especially as you keep the amount of seasons he's played, blah, blah, blah. But he has it in him. And it's you got to figure it out. And especially against this T-Wolves team, because you see, as soon as you get a little run going in end of the third, Luka hits that deep 3 by the half court line. And then it was like, oh shit, what's going to happen? No Ant. Where's the momentum going to shift?
Minnesota has been prone to give. Look at they had that lead against the Bucks a couple of weeks back. And then the Milwaukee comes back from 24 down in the fourth quarter to come back and win that game. They're prone to making mistakes. And you see it a little bit with some of the turnovers. I think Randall had 7 of Minnesota's 10 turnovers in this game. So for the most part, they took care of the ball. They had 29 assists. That ball was popping tonight.
It was.
They were passing up good looks for great looks. This was probably their A-level performance.
Yeah.
The question is, can they keep up this? The 3-point shooting, 21 threes, that's a lot.
Dude, we say the 3-point shooting, but then look at the points in the paint numbers too. 44 points to the Lakers, 32. And again, Lakers obviously stagnant at times. It wasn't pretty. they weren't sure. Everyone wasn't sure. They just didn't feel like they were all on the same wavelength. It was just like, even with LeBron, in those moments it's not like he was giving up, but it's just like, okay, now you're getting lackadaisical, and like people need you out there to just be like,
Morgan, it goes to the approach. Like I just disappointed by seeing the Lakers approach to this first playoff game. Another thing with Minnesota, I was just looking at, I believe they had 6 guys with 3 or more assists in this game.
Okay.
You had Randall with 5, Ant with 9, Conley with 3, DiVincenzo with 4, Nikhil Alexander with 3. They played a really tight game after kind of a shaky start. So, game 1. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know. The other games today, real fast.
Yeah.
Indiana over Milwaukee. It was 117-98. Kyle Kuzma with the game of all games. 21 minutes, 0 for 5, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 blocks, 0 steals. Let's see what it looks like when Dame's back. I just think it's Giannis, and you're looking around going, who else is going to be able to do anything? And I also just like Indiana's approach today. They came with a level of fight and pace that was fantastic on a night where it's not like, hey, Halliburton had 30. Nembhard played with 4. Siakam looked like a stud and a half.
How many times, though, were we talking about when Giannis wasn't out there? It was just like,
who?
This team just looks so lost.
It's like, all right, Kevin Porter Jr., like, do something.
Yeah.
It did not flow really well.
And by the way, really, just to give some love to Rollins, though, who came out, and that's his first playoffs, came out in that starting role for the Bucks, was just playing some really good on-ball defense, a lot of pressure.
Chasing around Halliburton.
Yeah, did a really good job right from the start. I think ultimately, just kind of like we're saying, that team, just who are they when they don't have someone to go to?
Let's see what it looks like when Dame comes back.
Yeah.
And Kuzma, can you do something?
Can
Giannis
you come back?
had 36 and 12 in the loss. 117-98. Pacers take game 1. The overtime game, this series is going to be awesome. Denver wins 112-110 a game. You're just like, dude, the Clippers should have had this game. Westbrook, some wild ass plays, and then comes up with the big steal late. Like, he had the big 3 at the end of the regulation. I mean, it's a roller coaster ride.
It is.
For sure.
It is. It's like with him, sometimes you go, oh, he does something great, and then it gets overshadowed by something weird that he does, or like misses a layup, or like whatever it is, and you're just like, what are you doing? And then he comes up with a game-winning steal, a defensive play, and you're just like, okay, and this is why you're in there, and this is why you've been doing this for such a long time.
By the way, he had 15 points, 5 of 17 shooting for him. Jokic 29 and 12, along with 9 rebounds. Kawhi Leonard 22 points in the loss. James Harden 32 and 11. This series is gonna be fun, so I think it's gonna be a tight one down the stretch. The last game, God, Knicks Pistons 123-112. I felt bad for the Pistons, dude. Watching them through 3 quarters, I'm like, this team comes to Madison Square Garden. They're playing the right way. They're playing with physicality. They're knocking down threes left and right. Malik Beasley is shimmy shaking on everybody, playing like they were looking like they're punking the Knicks.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter comes. We see a 21-0 run, and then you're like just seeing like the youth and just maybe the inexperience of this Pistons team in their first road game together.
And the Knicks, obviously, not only utilizing home court, but just like, the way that they stepped up with a different type of energy, a different type of force late in that game. And it's like, that's what you want to see in playoff basketball. But you're exactly right. For the Pistons, it felt like they had a bigger lead, and I saw that their biggest lead was only 9 in this game.
But it felt like impactful when they went up 9. Yeah.
It really fun game. This, I hope, is going to be a great series altogether.
Let us know what you thought about day 1. Give us your reaction to the Wolves win over the Lakers 2. Drop everything in the comments below. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow for day 2 of the NBA playoffs.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that